Hi everybody, it's Michael again. Today is one of our last topics on the 7 deadly sins. And today our topic is greed. And I'm hoping everybody listens to this because in a sense we're all greedy to a certain level. And in this instance, this particular issue of greed is going to collapse this country and its economic uptick of whatever. Because right now, like I said before, this guy Trump is deregulating everything, the banks and everybody else. And this is all part of greed. Because if you'll remember, and I was listening today on NPR about how people keep thinking that this issue that just happened created about these white supremacists, and how all of a sudden, I told you this, Mr. Trump's buddy, David Duke, appeared all of a sudden on the scene in Virginia when someone gets killed and they're run over by a car. How coincidental. But I'm glad no one listens to me, simply because when I get finished with this particular issue, you're going to be saying, well, wait a minute. Why hasn't this happened? And I'm going to tell you why. It's because of you. Yeah. So, let's take the greed thing. We already know what greed did to Rome. We already know what greed has done to every person and every society on the planet because of greed and pride and all these other things that are creating all of these issues. But here, the number one cause of harm to the American citizen, and especially the black community, is greed. Because if you look at it, why is there a housing shortage? Why? Because there's only so many people building. Habitat for Humanity. We've got a president, man, that's been working for Habitat for Humanity for all his life. But yet that doesn't catch on. Why? Because of you. Yeah. Think about it. You want all the greatest things that life could ever possibly imagine. You have no limits. You won't set limits on yourself. And on top of that, greed is what you all want. See, I'm not greedy. Why? Because I'm already tall, dark, and ugly. And in this society, it gets you nothing. And absolutely nothing. So, it doesn't even give you the respect of your own children. And that is what disturbs me. And one day I may be like my friend in Fresno who goes around shooting people. I may get upset one day. Well, it's not like I haven't done it before. But in this instance, I wasn't a crazy maniac. It was because somebody, at some point or another, I was greedy. I wanted what they owed me. But illegal or not, it was still mine, still owed to me. So, let me give you some other detail. Well, first let's deal with the definition of greed. Greed is an inordinate desire to possess wealth, goods, or objects of abstract value with the intention to keep it for oneself. And the real thing is inordinate. Okay, that inordinate means the same thing that I was telling everybody. How can you lose an argument when it's not natural? And when you're out of order, when you're not natural, when you're not within the norm, and we have a process of norm. I know my organization has an understanding of what the norm is, and we want to make sure that it's maintained. Not American. See, because Americans were kicked out for being faggots, religious maggots, what do they call them? Supremacists, I guess. I don't know what they were calling them back then. Oh, heretics. And, see, I don't know. I wasn't from the medieval times. Wish I could be, but the issue is now, is that great again means that, okay, when these people talk about great again, these are the wealthy people. These people want great again because when they were kicked out of their country and they became indentured servants, they started thinking that they were very smart simply by saying, well, let me go around the corner, change my clothes, and then I'll call myself something else. And then I'll blame that guy over there. and tell them that's him. That's what you call a false witness. But it's greed nonetheless. It's also lying, cheating, and stealing. Why? Because you didn't really go through your requirements to come to this country. You all lied. Why? Because most instances, the wealthy indentured all of you. And then you decided to do mass murder on the Indians. Think about it. So how great are you going to be? Let's think about that. The Indians ought to be the people right now. Well, wait a minute. If America's going to be great again, we need to annihilate these people now before they get a chance. That's what I would do if I were an Indian. I'd go on the warpath. But let us not go to that. Let us finish this definition. The issue is that you are going to be greedy in order to keep everything to yourself. Okay, so you got to question yourself. Well, what's the purpose for a billionaire? What about a trillionaire? What about a zillionaire? Oh no, what you're saying is that this person is greedy, selfish, they're wrathful, they're everything that has to do with these 7 deadly sins. Why? Because they're greedy. They care nothing for you and your family. Their lives are more important. Well, I finish. Okay, for oneself, inordinate, remember, far beyond the dictates of basic survival and comfort. See, now I need to go for the basic survival and comfort, okay? Because in this country, even if you were making $250,000 a year, you could still have comfort. And you could pay your bills if you stayed within a certain level. But see, these people don't want to do that. They want everything you have. So it's just not basic survival and comfort. It is applied to a markedly high desire for and pursuit of wealth, status, and power. Wealth, status, and power. That sounds like a politician. Because they want the wealth. Got to have the wealth, these enormous amounts of money just to get elected. God, what would Abraham Lincoln think right now? Okay? Power, same thing. I mean, you've seen the movies just like I have. I don't believe Oliver Stone is lying about the majority of the movies that he makes. I'm pretty sure he's not. Why? Because it's better to tell the truth. It's easier. So, if you look at this, okay, here's how we do this. As greed replaces health, life, and death, we will soon begin to derive laws against the already high speed greed seen in this land. See, because right now we have the wealthy now bringing the wealthy from everywhere else. And this creates more of a greed issue. So I'm looking at it like this. If I were the type of person that I wanted to be at all times, I would indicate to everybody, hey, back up. Let's shake some of this no-limit life. Because right now there's going to have to be some limits. Just like there has to be limits on the air. Just like there has to be limits on how much poison you can pour into the ground. Or there has to be limits on how much paint you can pour down that will go down into the water. Right? Isn't that the deal about limits? But why didn't our government, why didn't our states, why didn't our cities or counties put limits? And say, hold up, man, in order to be diverse from the very beginning, which you weren't. Why? Because you were all racist. Just like the Indians, just like the white people that killed the Indians, and just like the Mexicans that are taking over the white population. Guess what? You can have it. I got an exit strategy, and it don't include you. So, here we go. Okay, we are in the last cycle in this planet's life. As the resources diminish, the greedy will divert resources to maintain their levels of lifestyle. Yeah. First example, let's take OPEC for instance. These are some of the wealthiest Arabs in the world. Now guess what? And mark my words when I tell you this. These Arabs, these people are extremely evil. Why? Because they don't believe in God. They call him Allah. See, but Allah does not teach you to be selfish. And when you're walking around making everybody a slave but you can forget it. I've washed toilets with toothbrushes. That's because the Navy made me do it. But my mother, where I work, even when I was manager at the studios, I washed them toilets. I'm the manager. I don't really care. Gloves. And whatever poisons or anything, they made this. You see this right here? This is what I got from doing this. Okay? My body adapted. My body protects. I'm the one that looks like he does at 90 years old. But hey, you keep doing what you're doing. Because as I see this, and as I've been told, the disasters alone are going to create nothing but problems. And here, let's take this last issue that was just taken up in Virginia, where the white supremacist guy runs over somebody and injures a bunch of other people. Now, this is just the beginning. And I warned you. I told you David Duke was going to come out. But you don't hear me, though. And that's fine. You can dismiss it all you want to. But see, you ought to remember what he said. What he said after that particular run over was the fact that, here, listen to me, Mr. Trump, we're the white people that voted you in. And it's like I said before. Now you know who they are. I know I'm going to retaliate. Definitely am. Because once somebody comes out the woodwork, it's your own fault if you don't take care of it. So go ahead and be greedy if you want to. Go ahead and make sure that you have the best of everything. You see, my parents made sure we had the best economical status. Okay? Just like the station wagon that my mom bought. That's so everybody can go at one time. See, you people buy cars just for one person to drive around in it. You're not practical anymore. You do things because they look good, or you want them to be good, or you want somebody to be impressed by your status. I walk. I got cars. Matter of fact, I got to fix my dad's truck. I'm really wanting to do that. So, greed. Here's the last one. Greed has caused our elected officials to discriminate against the public by allowing contractors and foreign agencies to come here and buy their way into an emerging slave market. That means that everybody, whoever's coming, is going to pay that rent. Whatever those greedy people want. And let me tell you about the greedy. It was my uncle, Cleveland Williams, Berkeley, California. He built 4 sets of apartments. His apartments were in Berkeley, and so was his sisters and his brothers. This is the man I emulate. Once those apartments were paid for, that man lowered the rent. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is the black community. I serve my people. You Mexicans and you Asians and you white people, you're not my people because you don't even like me. You care nothing for me or mine, and I'm retaliating now. Yes, as of this week, and here we are, the eclipse is Monday, so we're now going to start seeing some really crazy things. And if I'm not mistaken, pretty soon here, we're about to have a real bad imbalance. Because I believe now that this moon is being paid attention to, and I don't know whether you've heard this or not, but this moon is actually falling out of our orbit. I don't know exactly how that works out. I'll get into it later because my rocket science mind will kick in later on. But here's the deal. This new slave market is called the United States of America. And pretty soon that border won't matter. Why? Because of low pay. Have you noticed all the money and everything that's going up and everything else, but your pay's not going up? But nobody's saying that. Nobody's doing nothing. Right? Because you're so glad to have what you have. The wealthy know how to do you. Why? Because you're cowards, mostly. I'm saying, I'm bringing this. We're going to collectively move together, and now we're going to have this coin right here that I'm putting together. and I think it cut off on the last piece at the other video that I did for I think that was Pride. I had said that it's my turn now. I'm going to move forward, and I'm going to make some changes simply because of the fact that although I want my children to live better, they're going to have to struggle on their own. But right now, I'm looking at this from I want to leave because there's no frontier here anymore. There's nothing new here anymore. There is only what the wealthy want. And I don't want that. So, as the compact spaces, the high cost of living, and the jobs, we're gonna begin to see that fighting humanity and racism and discrimination is going to be very hard, and still try to fight this planet, because this planet is going to puke us out. It's going to actually throw us up. When you have something really bad in your mouth, what do you think happens? Now here's the key. And I talked to you before about this martial law thing. The governor this past weekend called for a state of emergency because of the riot, because the person got killed. Now that's the first one. Why? Because people are out in the streets. And because of what Trump said, oh, there's all kinds of bigotry. Everybody's doing it. There's his other way. It wasn't just the supremacists. You didn't dog them. Why? Because he can't dog his brother, David Duke. Come on now. But you're not going to do nothing about it. You're going to sit up there and go, well, it's not the way it was. It's bad. Everybody's creating. But see, if you would understand the language that I'm speaking and how clearly I can communicate, from what I understand, that's English. I'm done with you guys. I'm going to go start speaking another language. Why? You ain't looking out for me. And God forbid what's going to happen if I'm not here to look out for you. Because guaranteed for sure, I don't even think Goliath is bigger than me. Maybe as big as Shaq, maybe. But you got to remember, that's only like 6 inches taller than me. You guys are going to have problems. And now, in this area, Bay Area, people are breaking into houses, breaking into cars, taking your stuff right now, right in front of you. You're not going to be able to do anything anymore. Why? Because you're too small. You don't know big people. You can't even threaten anybody. Me? I'm going to pray for you. I'm going to pray that your life becomes abundant by your behavior. And I'm so glad. Because now, I can actually say, my behavior is exemplary. And for you, God bless you. And, widows and orphans, I pray your life gets better. But right now, we're going to deal with this. And this greed right here, I pray that none of you fall under this. But I'm going to tell you something, those cars, all those things that you're buying, I suggest you stop right now. It's not going to do you any good. And it's going to make things worse. So, let's start putting these limits on people. Let's start backing up. Because I'm telling you, this technology and these disasters is going to kill us all. Back it up. Moonwalk. But thank you. Nobody treats you like a motherless child. Oh, like your mother does. My mother's passed. But got to go somewhere else to find a woman like my mother. She ain't in this country no more. But thank you. Greed. That's it for the 7 deadly sins. We're going to work on that armor. And you know, I was thinking about the fruits of the Spirit, but I think there's going to need to be a little more protection going around. So, everybody, thank you. I pray all is well. And think about constant prayer. Food, everything, air smells good, thank God. You know, body's okay, thank God. TV working, thank God. But music, constant prayer. Thank you. God bless. See you guys later.